Measure once, cut twice.
Yeah, I'm just the eye candy for this deal.
I got nothing.
Now he's back to Bob Rossing it again.
Happy little gear pattern right over here. There's no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Good morning, everybody. It's another day in the shop. Still working on the Dana 60 front axle for the 715. Picking it up. We're at this point where we're trying to dial in the shims for the pattern on the front axle. First thing we're going to do today, as we're having some problems that kind of suggest that this is moving, is we're going to go ahead and modify the bearing cap so that we can get this side tightened down and avoid any potential movement or repetition setup issues as we are pulling the carrier in, out, putting it back in.
And most important, we're going to make sure this bearing is actually seated, because if it's sitting up a little bit, it can give us false readings. And then we're going to make sure our pinion is really tight and seated and not moving around. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're getting some inconsistent backlash readings, and we're not sure if the pinion is actually moving while we're trying to read backlash.
So with that, we're continuing on with the gear setup. Well, I think we got it.
Yeah.
I mean, it dropped back in, but that's okay. The coupling is
basically straight.
basically where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So then,
Well, yeah, we're not fully seated, but yeah.
yep. So do we want to seat it? Do we want to?
Well, we need to modify the bearing cap.
Yeah. And we have instructions on how to do that.
Right. Instructions.
Yes.
Oh, is that the things that everybody ignores?
The printed thing that went in the trash. Yes.
Okay. But yeah, we have to measure. Because
nothing like having a couple of engineers working on something.
This cap is in the hose is in the way, and so you notch it right in here somewhere, and there's a way to measure it to make sure that you cut out enough without cutting out too much. Because this still has to hold the whole bearing cap down, and if this cracks, it doesn't do as good of a job.
Yeah, not as good of a job. It doesn't work.
It becomes suboptimal. It go boom. Mostly.
There, I think. Let's go ahead and put this bearing cap back.
With air locker in place and less than 0.5 millimeter of backlash.
Well, this is
we're doing things out of order. They're measuring from this position right at the edge of the differential face.
Okay.
Measure once, cut twice.
Like 0.55654. Okay, so we have a measurement. What are we supposed to do with our measurement?
Record it and double check it.
That looks more like the center of the thing to me. 5495. So I think we're very close. So I think we're pretty close on that measurement.
Okay.
I got that for you for Christmas a long time ago.
So what they've done is they've had us figure out where this is. Now they want us to take this out,
And put this back
put
in.
the bearing cap in, and find that spot in space.
Yeah.
So locking this down so it does not move. I'm going to hand that to you to set on the nice flat surface over there. Shims.
Okay.
Built-in shim hook.
Yeah, we figured that out at one point. So line up the mark with the mark oriented correctly. When they manufacture these, they take they do a little bit of machining, and then they actually bolt this piece in, and then they come in and they bore out the center here for the bearing cap, and that's why it has to go on the same side, in the same orientation every time, because the pieces are specifically fit to each other.
There. So realistically, we're talking about there.
Yeah, except that way just slightly, but...
You think we need to be slightly up?
Well, I'm aligning with that, so...
So you're thinking the center of the hole right there.
Yeah. Okay, that's 1/4 inch.
We're basically right at. So if we try to drill a 1/4 inch hole there
We're gonna get breakthrough
on that outside.
on the outside, and that's not good. So, instead, we notch with a rat tail file. Do you have a 1/4 inch rat tail file?
I don't know if I'm that small.
Just over 0.3 inches. And it's under 1/4 inch, that's smaller.
So probably this one.
Talk to me, boys.
So they want a 1/4 inch hole. We're close to the edge, so we don't want to put a 1/4 inch bit in, but we don't want to be sitting here filing for hours. And so we're using a 3/16 bit to drill the initial hole, and then we will file out from there. We got the hole, the 3/16 hole. It's close enough to the edge. We're going to step up, somewhere between 3/16 and a 1/4 inch.
And to a final size of 1/4 inch.
Just doing a test fit here. Yeah, so we'll definitely need a chamfer to account for the brazing. So yeah, we got our initial hole with the chamfer, and you can see the chamfer will allow for space around the brazing, so that this can clamp down and that can kind of sit in the hole. Let's see how that works.
Oh yeah, a lot closer.
Yeah, it does. I wanted it to let go without popping and
Right.
possibly damaging that tube.
So this is going to be taking the hole and making it into a notch. And this is just an exercise in patience.
It's off center, but I think it's close enough.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll be able to just kind of slide that in, and that works.
Yeah, I don't want to overstretch the case.
Okay, fingers.
Okay, make sure that's
the.
okay.
Okay, now. Oops. Okay. And.
Yep. Yeah, don't.
So careful. Yeah.
Okay, and we're approximately where we need to be.
Yep.
So yeah, you're gonna get that aligned before I take this off.
Yeah. So we get this in place, and now we see how it drops in, kind of exactly-ish where it needs to be.
And this is just getting things to snap.
Yeah, this guy doesn't exert a lot of torque.
Okay, we know that is fully seated. So let's try again to get a backlash measurement.
Okay, we're still probably high, but
Yeah. Well,
but we're gonna get a consistent reading this way. Okay, there's my 0. Huh, almost 20. So yeah, backlash is just how far in thousandths of an inch does the ring gear move when the pinion is not moving.
That does look like you're getting a consistent reading there.
Yes, it is a lot more consistent than it was last time we were doing this.
It's about 18.
About 18. Yeah, and so if we look at our handy guide, where's which one is it? Backlash, BL, backlash, Dana 60. I should be between 6 and 10. So we basically need to cut that in half. And the way we do that is we add a little bit more shim here and take out a little bit of shim here, and that moves the whole case over closer to the pinion to give us better. So kind of exaggerating, the teeth are kind of like out here. We need to get them in together closer.
And it's out again.
So if we do 310 plus 310 plus 120 plus 40 plus 40 equals 780. And if we do 120 plus 120 plus 100 equals 340. Yep. So basically take the 40 shim and move it over.
Yeah, which is, that has to be a 40 movement. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, when we start mixing around the 100s and 120s, that's where we get the 0.2.
Right.
Or the 2000s. So, okay.
Because we're shimming these on the outside, we're making absolutely certain we put the thick shims at either side of the stack and the thin ones in the middle.
And on the coupler side, we have our shims, and it doesn't actually matter how what order we put these in, because ARB supplies this really thick master shim. The idea is that it takes up this space, and so stack the shims, and we've got this really thick master shim protecting them so they don't get damaged during installation.
What attempt number is this?
7,127.
Okay. So really what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that I'm as flat to the surface, because that gives me the most accurate measurement. Because if you're coming in too much of an angle, you'll get a bad reading. And so I was just adjusting my tool a little bit. And so zero it out. $14. This is kind of a cheap tool, so sometimes it...
$16. So the net of that, we still need to go.
You still need to do more.
Yep, we need to go further.
So how far do you want to go?
We still need backlash to be half of what it was. We moved from 19 to like 15. I'm thinking another jump of 40.
Okay, you guys saw how they make this change. I'm just gonna jump right to the next test.
There's something weird going on here.
Something's moving. And I don't know if it's in the differential or if it's in our measurement tool. Because I can see a gap, but I can't.
A gap in what?
Well, between the tip of the tool and the other, but it might be the angle I'm looking at with the taper that's on the end of it, but.
Yeah. So the problem we were having is that the tool itself was hanging up on the other tooth because it was in contact, and so it wasn't allowing the probe to move. It's looking like about 11, 10 or 11.
It's 10, 11, which I think might be just inside spec.
6 to 10 is spec.
So we are another 20.
Well, 10 is spec and we're at 10.
So we're barely.
I kind of want to get a pattern just
Okay.
because we're in close enough spec and we've not yet done a pattern. I just, we're basically there. This first pattern will tell us if the pinion is way off or not.
And if we have, yeah, agreed. Okay.
Yeah.
So a pattern it is. Sure, we'll go this way first.
Sure. And I'm just holding on to provide resistance to get a little better,
More pressure.
a little more pressure, more contact. Okay, you should be back. And you want to run it forwards and backwards. Okay,
A couple of 3 times.
reverse. Yeah, you want it to go back a couple of times. Just get some more thorough. Okay, that's twice. You want to do 3 times? Okay.
Okay.
And there we go. First pattern.
First pattern.
I kind of like that.
Huh.
Well, it's a little high on the drive side.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, actually, the actual rub, and you also can look at the secondary markings. Let's look at secondary markings.
So I think we are still, pinion may be a little shallow.
Yeah, looks like we are riding close to the top of the tooth.
And we've got the horizontal line. They talk
Top the horizontal line.
the hamburger bun.
Yeah.
And so we go over here and we look at our book. So pinion is too close. You get the straight line on the bottom. Pinion is too far.
Is on the next page.
You see you get the straight line at the top. And so what we're looking for is a nice elliptical thing
Yeah, a nice blob in the middle.
in the middle without the straight lines. So we look at this, we've got a very definite straight line at the bottom.
Well,
which
we've
is
got a,
actually suggesting the pinion's too close.
yeah. But we're riding high on the tooth. But,
That may come back with some backlash.
yes.
So that would suggest we need to reduce the pinion shim, and then correspondingly we'll have to increase backlash.
Yes.
Okay.
But first, lunch.
But first lunch.
It is lunchtime.
Okay.
Back from lunch.
Back again. Try 8,777. Removed a little bit of pinion depth shim, adding a little bit more preload to move, or carrier shim to move it back towards the pinion, and we'll try again. However, that will be a blood blister underneath the fingernail.
Let's hope that's not the one that, when you have surgery this week, they put the blood pulse monitor on.
Oh, they'll put it on a different finger.
Ask them to fix it while you're under.
Okay. That might actually be a little too tight.
I'd say that's coming up at about 4.
4.
We can move back.
We can do 2,000ths increments on this. We don't have a
Right,
1,000th combination of shims.
right. And we need to open up, at this pinion depth, we need to open up the backlash a little bit, so.
But we're at 4, which is not that far off of 6.
So the smallest move we can make.
Do we want to run a pattern as long as we're here?
Okay.
I'm still seeing a solid line at the bottom.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe we
Leave the carrier shims alone,
And drop the pinion a little
pull
further.
another 1,000th out of the pinion.
Maybe a couple.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
And in retrospect, I'm pretty sure this is how we bent the thing here originally.
What thing?
Oh, the
yoke
thing?
Yoke thing.
Yoke thing.
Was
That's
having to, because I can't pull the yoke,
Right.
yoke.
Well, if you take the yoke thing off,
then I could pull the yoke,
You could
but,
pull the
but
yoke.
that's a lot of putting that on and taking it off.
yeah.
So I am trying to make sure that I'm pulling.
Well, do we really need it on there at this point?
I'm assuming by yoke thing you're talking about that tool on the end of the yoke.
Yes. The yoke thing.
Bearing. It's okay, it's a setup bearing.
New pinion shims installed. I'm now going to pull the pinion on just a little bit.
Or the yoke.
Yoke onto the pinion a little bit. Try 17F.
Nine.
So right, well,
Yeah, between 6 and 10.
Yeah,
So,
we're kind of, yeah.
right there.
And it only took 17 F tries.
Well, that's just backlash.
All right, let's go this way this time.
Dealer's choice. Okay. Still getting a kind of a solid.
although this one
It's looking more like a oval blob than
looking more oval than it was for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say I think we're getting real close.
Yep.
I can pull another 1,000th off the pinion,
I don't think it's out of spec on backlash.
and then we're gonna have to move another, because we're only moving 20, so we'll have to move another 20 on the backlash.
Yeah, another 2,000s.
Another 2,000s, and I think that will should put us actually towards the tight end of the backlash.
Yeah.
I think it'll bring the pattern in.
Yeah, that's Roy out there getting attacked, huh?
Oh, there's Roy.
Hi.
Did you get attacked by the Zephyr?
A little bit. He
He's
does
good
that.
at he's good at that.
Yeah, I'm just the eye candy for this deal.
I got nothing. 6.
Okay, well, that is spec.
Doesn't look a lot different from the previous pattern.
No. And I still read this side as too deep.
Okay, what does the secondary pattern look like?
See, now this, probably still too deep. Yeah, I think we didn't make a big enough pinion move.
Yeah.
So we can go another 1,000, we can go another 20. If we go another 1,000, we probably don't need to make a carrier adjustment.
Right.
And I expect we'll be towards the upper end of the backlash range. If we go 2,
And we can do it 2,000.
then we can do a 2,000 on the carrier. Okay.
Wait, is Kenneth cleaning something?
Hey. Now setting up for try 37B. Or that would be 1001101 for those of you playing along with the older version of the game.
Yep, 2.
Okay.
So we are way too tight.
We are way too tight. Probably too tight to actually run a pattern.
Probably.
So what they've determined is that they moved it too far and moving it back. Trial and error.
Okay. That's actually not bad.
About 6.
8.
Okay.
7. 7. So after about 327 tries, this gets completely filled up with goo. So we actually spent a little time and cleaned it off. And that way we get a little more information out of our marks. It's less of a flat line.
Yeah, but I think I'm still reading it as deep.
The drive side is getting a lot better. It's starting to get better. You notice how it's curving up.
Yeah.
Well, on the coast side, well, what do you want to do? So we'll figure out how to accommodate that.
Well, I'm still reading this as a little bit deep.
Okay, so we need to take
A little bit more pinion shim out.
pin and shim out.
I need a try number.
43. Because we're still not to the ultimate answer.
Well, we didn't go past it.
41.
$20 to $14, that's about 6.
Okay.
Now he's back to Bob Rossing it again.
Happy little gear pattern right over here. There's no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Can you tell this is the 9th or 10th try? We're getting loopy.
What do you mean getting? I've been there for an hour waiting for you to get here. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's looking better.
I like that. Yeah, I've got a nice...
Well, yeah, so it's curved a little bit now.
I am inclined to call that good. I mean, we made it for a Dana 80, but I think it'll work just fine for this.
Yeah.
So
Ew.
this is removing the setup bearing that we left on the carrier so that we weren't committed to our shim arrangement. Now we're ready to commit.
Here, this goes with that bearing.
That was the setup.
Well, let me see it. So you can see
It's been
there's a
run.
wear mark.
Okay.
This is a used race.
Okay.
We keep, even if we don't grind on the race, we keep the race and the bearing together just so we have the two pieces. So we're not messing up a new race with an old bearing. Yeah, but grab that because I'm going to take this over. And can you move the press plates out of the way? $100. They're probably a lot more than that. I think some of that is I'm compressing the wood.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely all of a sudden gets tight.
And the slightly proud lip here is why we have to use the ball joint adapters, because you have to be able to press on the race, not on the cage, and clear that lip. I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to go grab the seal kit.
Yeah.
Cleaning up for axle seals, inner axle seals, right?
Yep. This is one of these points at which you really want to get this clean before you put it together,
No leaks.
because a dirty axle leaks.
Just a little bit of RTV. Again, not much. Just a little film here
Fills in any imperfections.
to help fill in any imperfections that are there
It's like glazing putty for auto body.
and make sure that
Oh, that's clever.
I'm not as dumb as I look.
and since we're not going to use the RTV for the gasket cover,
Okay.
And that's because you bought a lube blocker,
correct.
Yeah.
Reusable gaskets have become
which is right there.
reusable gaskets have become the norm, and particularly for rigs that tend to see a lot of oil changes, just a lot more convenient. Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah. Okay.
so then
And we go.
nut.
Nut. What size nut is it?
And then the spacer, and then the
And then the undo. Out there. Okay, I'm gonna hold this steady.
seriously.
Are you at the end of your wrench?
I'm at the end of my wrench. Little concerned that takes that much torque.
Well, the seal might be slightly cockeyed.
I can feel that something moved.
Yeah. Okay. Don't start to force it once it's hard to push. You don't want to push it in too far.
Right, and it is recessed enough at this
Yeah.
point that it's out of the way of the
Yeah.
everything else. So.
Well, yeah.
In and flush with. But yeah, when we go to do this,
Yeah, it's going to push against that seal.
so we're gonna
Unless
need
we need a bigger.
one of my driver plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then use some scrap steel for
Yeah.
the backing plate. So that mess up the
And
other. Mess up the other seal?
I think Dana 60 is slightly exceeding its capabilities.
Yeah, there's a threshold in there that it crosses, and it's like, okay.
When it finally lines itself up and decides that, yes, it's time to go in the hole.
Yep. So much better than getting a seal driver on a 4-foot stick.
Yeah,
I think we
I
have
mean,
that.
it works, but
I think we have one of those on video.
Oh, I know we do.
probably. Still.
You see it basically right to flush.
Yep.
All right, moving towards final assembly, we need to put our air seals on. We're going to do just a little bit of oil to lubricate them.
And then
Put them on one at a time.
slide them into the overhead. Or slide them.
Cam with the flange goes in the groove with the tube.
The flange of the cam fits in the groove with the tube.
Good. Looks good. No turns. No problems.
We're not in Albuquerque, right?
Why do I need to turn left?
It's always the left turn in Albuquerque.
And this is always the fun part, trying to get it to start. Okay, so this edge is chamfered
Ever so slightly.
ever so slightly, so it should help to get the seals to compress. And, okay, so I need, can you come around? Because I need a little more arm room.
Yeah, he's just to press it on, give it a little bit of a twist, but we want to go straight.
The race isn't straight.
The race can do whatever it wants to do.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Okay. Give us a second. And then what has to happen is these have to compress just a little bit.
Find it this way.
The problem with doing that,
Is it can roll out.
it'll squirt it out. So I think straight down.
Let's try the other cup. See if that one fits a little better. The same. Where's the oil?
Right here.
I need you to hold the.
You want me to hold or you want me to rotate the ring gear?
Well, the problem is as you're rotating the ring gear, if it starts to grab, the tube will bend and break.
Okay.
So.
I would say choke way up on the, yeah.
So we might have run the seals out. Because this is supposed to be able to turn.
Has to be able to turn.
Okay, there's something not right there. I mean, it should be a little snug, but that's way more than a little
That's more than snug at this point. Yeah.
snug. Okay.
That's not almost no pressure being applied by the press at this point.
Yeah, and you're also cockeyed.
Yeah. Now some of it is the pressure I have to apply to keep it from rotating. So there's actually almost no pressure from the press.
Yeah. It might behoove you to use this, which is off just as much as this is, to get it straight. So now you're centered. get it in contact. It's not touching.
It's literally, it's moving. It's dropping out.
Oh, yeah.
We're applying enough pressure that it's sliding down.
Ah, okay. I see what you mean. And it's going cockeyed.
Okay, so let's stop.
And it was at this point the boys just called it a night. They were frustrated. They were going to damage something. They were done. So they're going to come back at it tomorrow. But given the length of this video, I'm going to save that as another video. Thank you for watching.